real.
Oh boy, have we missed Jigsaw, and it brings us nothing but sheer delight to let you know that he is back to his old macabre tricks in the latest offering of the iconic Saw franchise. But before we go into the details of this video explaining the ending and where the movie takes us into the future from here, we'd like to let you know that we just did a complete breakdown of the entire franchise, maintaining the convoluted timeline inside the movies, so you may want to check that out before you head into this. However, if you're okay with us spilling out spoilers, be our guest. First things first, our beloved Tobin Bell is back as John Kramer, aka Jigsaw, and believe us when we tell you that he has more screen time than ever before. Well, isn't that exactly what being alive will do for a character? Anyway, without further ado, let's dive right into this gratifying, grimy gore then. But before we get into our explanation, we do have one small request. If you enjoy our content, then please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Now, let's begin.
I have not provided is your anesthetic, but trust me.
What's the timeline of Saw X? Saw X takes place between the events of Saw 1 and Saw 2, which means John Kramer is very much alive in the current movie. OG fans of the franchise are well aware of the fact that John's character dies at the end of Saw 3. But hey, when did that stop him from continuing his work? He has always been there in all the movies except for Spiral, either in the form of flashbacks or, at the very least, through recordings. If we are being honest, his iconic "Hello, I want to play a game with you" still gives us the heebie-jeebies. Anyway, in John's words, it's more like his hobby to help people overcome inner obstacles and have them make positive changes in their lives. As for the current storyline, it takes place weeks after the events of the first movie, and John has already been detected with brain cancer by then. Also, just to be clear, please know that if you are new to the franchise, you don't need to know anything about the earlier Saw flicks to get a grasp of the new film. Call it tailor-made or whatever you want to, it will work for you even if you happen to be someone who has not seen any of the Saw movies. But having said that, die-hard fans of the franchise will have more reasons to rejoice, so brace yourself, there will be spoilers ahead. A ray of hope? Kevin Dutert's Saw X begins with John Kramer undergoing a CT scan. Cancer has brought pain and grief to John's every waking moment, and with the doctor telling him that his cancer is in an advanced stage, he has only months to live. It dawns upon John that he still has a lot of unfinished work to take care of. We get a peek into John's life, where he is seen attending a support group for cancer patients. Anyway, moving on with the storyline, we find John penning down his last will and testament when he runs into fellow member Henry Kessler from his cancer support group. Henry, who has been suffering from stage 4 pancreatic cancer, looks rather healthy and happy, and John is surprised to learn that he has managed to get himself cured. An exceedingly curious John further learns from Henry how he read about a specialist who offered to treat him. Apparently, it is a groundbreaking drug cocktail combined with surgery, but the treatment is not available in the United States, as medication is not approved there. Henry claims to have had this experimental cancer treatment in Norway and gives John a link to the Peterson project before wishing him good luck. It goes without saying that Henry's recovery did pique John's interest, and he immediately starts researching about the Norwegian doctor. John gets to know through various videos that the doctor's daughter, Cecilia, has currently taken over her father's practice, and her mission is to save as many lives as possible. Call it an act of desperation, but John ends up contacting Cecilia. Cecilia, sensing John's urgency, tells him to come to Mexico to undergo the cranial surgery. Meet the con artists. A hopeful John arrives in Mexico, and he is picked up from the airport by a taxi driver who gives him a city tour. On the way to the facility, the taxi gets stopped by two masked men who ask John for his identity, and he is eventually taken to the makeshift facility by the duo in their van. The facility turns out to be a huge countryside mansion, and John is initially greeted by a local girl named Gabriella, who shows him his room and tells him about Cecilia saving lives through her treatment. John finally meets Cecilia, who apologizes to him for bringing him to the facility like that, and tells him that the location of their clinic always has to be kept a secret no matter what. Cecilia gives John a tour of the mansion and takes him to the clinic, which is inside what used to be a chemical factory in the past. She introduces John to anesthetist Matteo and nurse Valentina. She also informs him that she, along with neurosurgeon Dr. Ramon Cortez, will be conducting his surgery the following day. John encounters a man named Parker Sears in the clinic who has recently undergone a throat cancer treatment treatment by Cecilia and seems to be doing more than fine. The following day, the surgery is conducted on John as scheduled, and he wakes up to find Cecilia telling him that his operation was a success. This has John exceedingly happy, believing that he has been given a fresh start now that he has been cured of his terminal illness. He goes to buy a gift as a token of appreciation. Mind you, John has already paid big bucks for his treatment. We are talking $250,000 here. But what can we say? The man is super happy. Anyway, he goes back to the facility with a gift only to find the mansion in ruins. John goes to the medical chamber to find it abandoned, and it does not take him much time to piece things together. He realizes that his surgery never really took place, and the whole thing, including every people he has encountered so far, has been part of a scam, which was meant to defraud him. The tables get turned. John is quickly able to deduce the fact that the one who performed his pseudo-surgery was no one but the taxi driver Diego, who had picked him up from the airport. Naturally, Diego becomes his first victim and is placed in a deadly trap particularly devised for him. The trap has 2 explosives sewn into his forearms, and there are 2 scalpels taped to his hands. Diego is asked to cut through his flesh before the explosives detonate within the set timer. Well, it is safe to say that he is successful in surviving the trap, and John brings him a medical kit right away. John is also seen making a call to a certain detective and asking the latter to help locate some people for him. Valentina happens to be the next victim to get abducted, followed by Matteo, Gabriella, and Cecilia in order. By the time Cecilia gets captured, Amanda Young gets introduced as John's trusted ally, having aided John in every step of the kidnappings. The quartet wakes up to find themselves chained up in the facility. John and Amanda welcomes them and tells the group that each of them will get a chance to prove themselves and that a new game is about to begin. Of course, refusing to play the game isn't an option. This is not retribution, it is a reawakening. Valentina is the first one in the group to trigger her timer, and it leads her to make a horrible choice. Of course, she could have seen this coming, promising dying people of saving their lives and in turn take advantage of the only thing that they possessed, which in John's case was his hope, can have gruesome consequences. Valentina's trap forces her to sever her leg with a wire saw and then suction out just enough bone marrow from the stump to fill a measured jar. She runs out of time and is unable to prevent herself from being decapitated. A remorseless Cecilia is seen further mutilating Valentina's dead body by using her intestines as a rope to grab her phone from the chair, which is placed beyond her reach. Amanda arrives there just in time to tighten the neck collar of Cecilia, making her unable to carry ahead with her plan. Moving on, we see Parker coming to the facility to confront Cecilia post discovering that he has been cheated. He is initially knocked unconscious by Amanda, chained up next, and then his gun is taken away. John tells him to watch the game from the observation room. Matteo happens to be the next one. He is wheeled into a separate room and subjected to the brain surgery trap, where he is forced to drill into his skull, remove a chunk of his cerebral tissue, and put it inside a jar filled with dissolving liquid. While Matteo is successful in carrying things out, he runs out of time and gets killed when the Tlaloc mask closes over his head. Parker continues to watch the game in horror, and soon it is Gabriella's turn. Gabriella is lifted up in the air with shackles around her ankle and wrist and exposed to a deadly ray machine. She is given a bone-breaking hammer and asked to break her limbs in order to break free. With Gabriella succeeding in her task, John tells Amanda that Gabriella's injuries need immediate medical treatment and to take her to a hospital. Live or die, the choice is yours. Gabriella never makes it out of the facility. Parker is revealed to be Cecilia's lover, who has the duo of John and Amanda held at gunpoint and forcibly makes Amanda unlock Cecilia. Upon getting free, Cecilia kills the severely injured Gabriella by breaking her neck with her foot and addresses the deceased as a loose end. She further reveals that she knew Kramer was Jigsaw from the very beginning and that she will make sure that he dies in his own trap. Cecilia has John chained up and take her previous place in the trap when she hears Carlos, a young boy John had earlier befriended, playing right outside the building. Cecilia has Carlos brought inside the facility, ties him up, and places him in a trap, further stating to John that if he lets Carlos die, it will be on him. The point is to forcibly make John watch an innocent die in his devised trap. Parker has Amanda tied up while John and Carlos are subjected to a trap that has the duo placed on what looks like a seesaw. There are 2 nozzles right above their face that has blood blasting out. John tells Carlos not to pull the lever that is next to him at any cost and attempts to take the forceful blasts on himself. However, Carlos pulls the lever at his end in an attempt to save John, post which both he and John are seen taking turns in order to save each other. While this is happening, Cecilia and Parker are seen making their way to the observation room to retrieve her bag of money that John had previously taken while abducted her from her place. But with Cecilia picking up the bag, she unknowingly triggers the final game, setting the timer and getting locked inside the room. This X also stops the trap John and Carlos have been subjected to, and we learn how it was Diego who had given up the information of Parker being involved in the whole scam. This naturally means John was only playing along with Parker all this while. As part of the final test, Cecilia and Parker are told that the room that they are in will get filled with a poisonous gas and there is no way out except for a small hole which only one of them can use to breathe fresh air. The two of them are made to work against each other, and Cecilia spares no time in killing Parker and puts her head outside the small hole. She watches John, Carlos and Amanda walking out of the facility. As for the actual bag of money, John hands the bag to Carlos. The movie ends with us not knowing the fate of Cecilia. Future of the franchise. What can be a better way than to end a movie with a bang? And in this case, a post-credits scene that conclusively hints at a sequel. Well, Saw X's after-credits scene shows Henry Kessler suspended in his trap inside the famous industrial bathroom from the first Saw movie. There is a device strapped to his chest with sharp claws, and by the looks of it, the trap is bound to do a lot more to Henry than leave him with a warrior scar. This time for real. Of course, we find John checking his trap, but there is another person overseeing the trap as well. It is a certain detective that John has reached out to earlier in the movie. We have seen him and his menacing gravitas in the earlier Saw installments. He is a well-known face, and it is with complete joy that we introduce you all to Detective Mark Hoffman, who has made the desired cameo appearance. It was Hoffman who traced Henry and found that he was equally a part of the whole scam. And, like Hoffman says, and we quote, "Out of everyone, you picked John Kramer. I call that epic bad luck." Henry is seen screaming in horror and the screen fades into black. Marvelous verdict. Even though Saw X serves itself as a prequel, the ending already points us towards the direction of a new movie. Of course, nothing has been confirmed yet, given that Saw X has just had its theatrical release. We'd like to urge every fan of the Saw franchise to give the newest entry a definite watch, as we would love to know your thoughts in the comments section below. If you ask us, Saw X is categorically a powerful addition to the franchise. The movie delivers the gore fans would expect, and it's great to have John Kramer and Amanda Young back as a dynamic duo. Well, that is all for today, and with us we finally come to the end of our video here. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do leave a thumbs up. Also, stay tuned with us as we promise to come back with more exciting content. Till then, goodbye and thanks for watching. Have a nice one.